The Donut Bag is brought to you by Penn Highway Marketplace, the marketplace for vintage goods, quality collectibles, and handmade crafts. It's where I get all my sports memorabilia. Go to facebook.com/Penn Highway. That's facebook.com/PENNHWY and mention I sent you. Browns Steelers. I'm talking to Rod Bluhm from the Browns Blitz podcast. I did not expect I did not expect the Bengals to look that bad week one, and I did not expect the Steelers to look that bad week one. So it's craziness. How bad were the Bengals against the Browns last week?
Well, I mean, the Bengals were bad, but I think a lot of the credit has to go to the Browns defense and maybe an assist to the weather. It was raining, especially the first half. It really looked like nobody could hold on to the ball. Nobody could throw the ball very well. Deshaun Watson didn't throw the ball very well, and Joe Burrow couldn't throw the ball either. So, but the Browns defensive line played really well, and the Browns defensive backs were all over the Bengals receivers. Had them covered very well. So the Browns defense really played well, but it's hard to say. I think it would have been a higher scoring game if it weren't raining. Just kind of crappy. I mean, these guys have been practicing and everything, and idyllic conditions, through the preseason and training camp. So probably caught them off guard.
Yeah. That's two of the strengths of the team for the Browns, the defensive line and the cornerbacks.
Yeah.
The defensive line is supposed to be much better this year, which is scary because if basically they gave Myles Garrett help, and from what I'm hearing, that's just going to make him even better and even more dominant. So is that what's going on so far?
That's what's happened. Zadarius Smith really looked good. Dalvin Tomlinson and Double O Ogbo really looked good. So pretty much everybody who was out there. And I think the team only had 2 sacks, but they were pretty much in Joe Burrow's face almost the whole game. It was impressive. I mean, Burrow got rid of the ball pretty quickly to avoid a lot of sacks. But yeah, the defensive line was pestering him the whole time. And for those people who didn't see the game, the Browns were up. I can't remember exactly what the score was. I think it was like 16 to 3, or maybe it was 13 to 3. One or the other with about 5 minutes left. Might have been 16 to 3. The Bengals pulled Joe Burrow with 5 minutes left in the game. So I don't know. It's possible. I saw him kind of, rubbing his leg and stuff. So maybe there was something going on with the calf a little bit. Maybe they didn't want him to get hurt, but Bengals pretty much gave up with 5 minutes left in the game.
I know. So you're saying it was yeah, because it was 16 to 3 after the third quarter, and then the Browns scored 11 in the fourth quarter. So I'm guessing that was it was a field goal. So at one point it was 16 to 3 with about in the middle of the fourth quarter, and they just gave up. I mean, I know Joe Burrow looked horrible. He looked absolutely horrible. Now, he hasn't been playing much all preseason because of that calf injury. Okay, but wow, they just gave him $275 million and they put him on the bench. Holy cow!
Yeah, but I think when you see him play this coming week, I think he'll look just fine. Depending, I don't think it was Joe Burrow. Like I said, I think it was thrown in the rain, and there were definitely issues with gripping the football, but the Browns defensive backs were excellent, and and the line was just not giving him a lot of time either. The Browns defensive line. So I think it's just a combination of those three things. I don't think Joe Burrow all of a sudden got to be a bad quarterback.
Yeah, which makes me wonder what's going to happen this week against the Steelers. The Steelers did not look good. In fact, they looked absolutely horrible against the 49ers. And yeah, it's just 1 week, and week ones are weird, but I don't know. I'm very pessimistic on the Steelers right now. I was very optimistic on them, but now I'm very pessimistic. So I could totally see the Browns coming in to Pittsburgh and winning, and that would just that this is a huge game because it's an early division game, and then on the other side, the Ravens and Bengals are playing. So these are two huge division games right in week 2. High stakes.
Yeah. It sets up the division for the rest of the season. It really does.
Yeah. If the Browns go into Pittsburgh and win, there's not a good chance that that Pittsburgh's going to go into Cleveland and win later on. So, yeah, this is a huge game. How did now Deshaun Watson didn't look good, but that was probably because of the weather, right?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, he didn't play a ton in the preseason either. But yeah, he was short hopping a lot of balls. It looked like some grip issues, and honestly, I mean, he didn't look pristine in the preseason, but he looked better than he did in those 6 games, in last season. So I think we're expecting him to play fairly well, and he improved in the second half of the game, but he didn't have great numbers. I can't remember. I think he threw for, so I've got it right here, 154 yards, a touchdown and an interception. So, not great numbers, but in a weather game, it's, so.
He sure did rush really well. 5 rushes, 45 yards, 1 touchdown. That's really impressive. So at least he had that going for him. Nick Chubb, 18 rushes, 106 yards. He's in the conversation for best running back in the league. He is amazing.
Yeah, and Nick didn't even have he really didn't have any big spectacular runs. It was just kind of just 6 here, 8 there, 10 there, and it just added up, to where if you're watching the game, you really didn't even notice he was having a 100-yard game. It just kind of happened, and I guess in Cleveland we're just kind of used to seeing him do this without even, I mean, we appreciate him here definitely, but we're so used to waiting for him to break one that you don't notice a game like this where he carries 18 times for 100 yards.
Now, there have been times where, I mean, the Browns have always have had a great rushing attack for years now, and the Steelers, sometimes their run defense has been pretty poor, and the conventional wisdom is, okay, then you run it down your throat. If you're really good at running, you're going against a weak running defense, you run it down their throat. But that hasn't been the case. Aren't there shirts in Cleveland that say "Run the ball, Kevin" or something like that?
There are, yeah. Yeah. We could get you one if you want. Yeah. You might get in trouble for one.
It's funny. It's funny because I guess people aren't crazy about Kevin Stefanski's play calling. In Pittsburgh, the offensive coordinator, Matt Canada, is he could be tried on war crimes. He could be, if it were up to the people of Pittsburgh, he would be deported. It's just funny how certain fan bases absolutely hate the coach or a coordinator or something like that and blame them for all the problems in the world.
I think fans expect every NFL team to score like 45 points a game, and to get every play right every time, and to outsmart the defense on every single play, and it just doesn't work that way.
And use their timeouts properly too.
Yes,
because we're all experts at that. It's like, well, when I play on Madden, I'm perfect, and why can't you be as perfect as me? I'm better than you.
You think you're
I just
perfect because you don't have somebody over your shoulder second guessing you too.
well, yeah. There's not a stadium full of 70,000 fans. I just saw there was a movie about they took people that were playing the video game Gran Turismo, which is a driving game, and they took some of those people and made them actual drivers. I wonder if they could do that with Madden. I wonder if they could say, "Oh, I'm really good at Madden. Maybe I could be a offensive coordinator." Or something.
Oh, I thought you were gonna make them players because most of us
There
would
you
get dead after one play out there.
Yeah.
I could go out there and try to call plays, but I'm sure the fans would be calling for my job after far less
Oh
than a
my
quarter.
goodness. Oh my goodness. I would be so bad at that. Yeah, I would be terrible. I'd be doing flea flickers and hook and ladder plays and all kinds of
Yeah, let's
crazy
trick them on
crazy
this
things.
one.
Yeah, yeah. uh if the Browns do come into Pittsburgh and win, what do you think would be the main factor?
I think it'll be if they can just really just go in and play their game. I think as a Browns fan, um, just watching what the Browns have done going into Pittsburgh the last several seasons, and um, I'll try to say this the right way. There have been several seasons where the teams have been evenly matched, or the Browns have been what I think has been probably maybe maybe had a better roster even. And the Browns go into Pittsburgh, and the Browns look like they couldn't beat a team of 11 fans dressed up in black and gold. The Browns have to be able to play their game. So that means that the defensive line has to play well, the corners have to play well, because honestly, if the Browns defense plays anything like they did against the Bengals, I think the Steelers are going to have a tough time putting up a lot of points. I just think that's realistic. And I think this Browns team, as much as the talk was about the offense and the new receivers and the new offense around Deshaun Watson, I think this defense, as we saw in week one, could be what carries this team. And if the team's able to slow the Steelers down enough, I think the offense would be able to score enough points.
I could be wrong on this, but I think now, not counting the playoff game in January of 2021, which I wish I could erase from my memory, but not counting that, I don't think Cleveland has won in Pittsburgh for years. I'm looking
No,
at
they
like
haven't. Again, I don't know the number. Yeah, but it's another one of those things. The Browns this season, like many other seasons, are trying to erase a lot of those stats and just trying to be their own team and not live in this thing of we're the Browns and we don't win, we don't we we get mad and we don't follow our coaches after so many games. That's kind of the phenomenons that the Browns have to erase.
It's literally been 20 years. 2003 was the last regular season win in Pittsburgh. Yeah, and I think that's it sounds like for the Browns psyche, they really need to get off to a good start. They could probably do well if they get off to a slow start and then come back later, but it sounds like just for the mental aspect, sounds like they really need to get off to a good start to have a good season.
I think that could be. I think a lot of us looked at the first four games with that next week is the Titans. We'll see what happens there, but and then there's that game against the Ravens. So those three division games. I think a lot of us fans were thinking, wow, if the Browns could go 2-2 in those games, I think we'd feel like we were okay, and at least had a shot at things. I don't, if the Browns went 3-1 in this series, in the first four games, I think people would probably be going crazy.
So on the injury front, Jack Conklin, uh, the tackle, is, I guess, out for the year.
Yeah, torn ACL and MCL.
Oh, ouch.
Yeah,
Ouch.
he's had some injury issues. It's hard to see. I mean, it's hard to see. I mean, all these injuries that have happened, this one affected the Browns, but the Aaron Rodgers and J.K. Dobbins. I mean, you don't want to see any of these guys get hurt. But yeah, Conklin's missed some time over the last few years. You just hate to lose him in the first game.
Somebody said it best. They're basically, because of the NFLPA mandating that there's less practices and during the preseason, and during the season. I don't think they're allowed to have many padded practices. Someone said, in what sport or industry or anything do you get better by playing less? It's
Yeah,
crazy. And then we see this every year. As soon as they
yeah,
start playing real football, lots of people get hurt. It's because they
yeah,
basically have done nothing for months. They haven't
right.
done much, and then they go out there and go full speed. It's
Yeah,
ridiculous. It's
I
totally
agree.
understandable that all these people would get hurt, and it really stinks. I mean, my goodness, poor Aaron Rodgers, what, three passes, three downs or something like that done. So yeah, you lose some people. The Steelers have lost a couple people in the last game. Cam
Yeah,
Hayward and Deontay Johnson, which are pretty big losses. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it's like you just have to expect it. It's like, okay, let's hope that the people we lose aren't aren't that critical. But it's
right.
sad
Or
that.
or at least it's only for a number of weeks, and not the whole season, things like that. I mean, yeah, Joey, you talk about the preseason and that, and these guys not playing. Well, the Browns had Jakeem Grant, who they signed, who missed all of last season. I can't remember what his injury was. I think a knee or something, and then he came back and he returned one kick in the preseason, and he went down again, and he's out for the whole
Oh
season.
man, that
So,
stinks.
so I just don't know. These injuries could happen in the preseason. They can happen in the first game of the season. I think the salaries are part of what's happening. I mean, Jack Conklin was making $14 million. You don't want to lose a guy like that in the preseason,
Right. Right. So then you don't play him as
so
much.
you
Yeah.
don't play
Yeah.
him. So
So
then maybe he's not getting the activity like you said. So I don't know what the answer is.
yeah. 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 I mean, yeah, people still got hurt in the preseason too. So to replace Conklin is Dewan Jones, who is 6'8", 375 pounds. How do you get around someone like that? They should allow the Steelers linebacker to have like a trampoline to maybe like run it, like jump over him or something like that. Maybe that's the only
Hey,
chance he has. Like, he's a mountain.
he's huge. I got to tell you, when he was playing in preseason, we were watching the replays of him next to just whoever was playing guard next to him, who was like, 6'3", 6'5", and 310, and that guy looked like a normal sized person next to him.
Yeah.
I mean, Dewan Jones is obviously just a huge human being. But for the people who haven't seen him play, I mean, he played a lot in the preseason. So he went up against some number ones, but a lot against twos and threes. He was outstanding in the preseason. He's got really good feet, which I think probably it surprised me and a lot of other people. He
Of
can move.
course. Of course.
Yeah.
A giant guy that can move. I mean, these are all just freak
Well, he's another one
athletes.
of those guys I think who played basketball in high school or something.
There you go.
And then
Okay.
he's probably put 100 and some pounds on since then. So, obviously he's probably not the fastest guy out there, but when you see him move, it's pretty amazing. But
Yeah.
I mean, Browns fans have to remember that he's still a rookie. So he's not going to go out there and shut down every NFL defensive end right now as a rookie. I mean, this guy was taken, I think, in the fifth or sixth round. You can't, and he's played well. He's looked great. He's been a huge surprise, but you can't expect him to go out there and just play right tackle, not get any help, and just shut somebody down. That's not going to happen.
Right. They're going to have to help him out. They're going to have to, bring some tight end or something like that to have to help him out. So we'll see. If the Browns lose, what do you think would be the main factor?
I think it would be I would say probably just getting away from their game plan, probably turnovers, penalties, things like that. Maybe some quick scores by the Steelers. Maybe take the Browns out of the running game. I mean, strange things happen when the Browns go to Pittsburgh. So I would think and I would hope that the team, the coaches, and everybody would not be looking past this game in any way whatsoever, because like you said, the Browns looked really good against the Bengals. The Steelers looked bad. Steelers have some couple of major injuries. On paper, this sets up like, oh, this should be an easy game for the Browns, right? But you can't look at it that way. You have to go in and execute. You have to do everything right. And if the Browns don't go in with that attitude, they could easily lose the game.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes. There's some other crazy stat that the Steelers on Monday night are like almost undefeated. They hardly ever lose on Monday night. But I'm telling you, I have a bad feeling as a Steelers fan about this. I just have a feeling the Steelers thought like they had a great preseason and they thought everything was fine and they were overconfident, and it turns out they have a lot of problems and they're just figuring them out. So they're probably going to get off to a slow start this season, and that means probably a loss. I'm just feeling that way.
Yeah.
Well, so we'll see.
Find out. A lot of people in Cleveland would be very happy to start out 2-0.
Yes.
I don't know the history, but I think it's been since Bill Belichick was the coach that the Browns started out 2-0, something like that.
Interesting.
So, yeah, it goes back a ways.
So where can people find you and follow you and get more of your work?
They can find me on Twitter at Rod B. And they can I do a little bit of writing, so got some links there. If you want to read anything about the Browns, I'm probably due to write another article here before too long. And follow my podcast. I've got a link in my bio there for the Browns Blitz. It's at the Browns Blitz. And you might dig back a little ways and find an episode where Joey's the guest.
We were when we were talking and you said you guys said something like, well, what if Kenny Pickett isn't good this year? And I thought that was like the most ridiculous thought. Like, of course he's gonna be good. There's no he's in his second year. He's gonna be awesome. And then he was basically the number one reason why the Steelers lost. He looked like Joe Burrow out there. He just like could not make a throw. Yeah. It was the weirdest thing. So yeah, we'll see.
Well, it's funny. I don't know how Lamar did in their game. I would like to look at his stats because the hype was all these quarterbacks playing well, and really none of them probably put up good stats.
I heard he struggled. I heard he didn't do so well also. So it's the rust. But one weird thing that happened at the Steeler game, which has almost never happened before, is half the stadium was 49ers fans. It was really weird. It was really weird. That never happened. So I wonder, I don't know. I just don't understand. Like, people are criticizing Steelers fans. Like, how could you give your tickets to 49ers? I was like, you don't know who you're giving them to. You put them up for sale. You don't know who's going to take them. But I'm just wondering, like, why were Steelers fans even giving, trying to sell their tickets? That was really odd. But so I don't know. I know some Browns fans will come down to Pittsburgh. So
I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's a nice drive, and Oh, it's a Monday night. It's like, see, that's a cool thing is you come down, you make a weekend of it or something like that. I love spending time in Cleveland for the weekend. That's a great place. That's like the perfect place to spend a weekend. Catch a baseball game, go to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. There's a lot of things to do in Cleveland, so I can imagine
right
people do
there.
the same thing in Pittsburgh. So
Yeah.
all right, sir. Hey, thanks so much for coming on. I don't want to say good luck, because I don't want the Browns to
I
lose.
understand. I understand.
I hope few injuries. Let's hope for that. So
Let's hope for no injuries. We don't like injuries.
Exactly.
So,
All right. Hey, thanks so much for coming
Joey.
on. See ya.
Absolutely.
Bye.